Hey y'all, welcome and welcome back to my channel. My name is Nataya and this is Nesthetics, where I talk about topics that I care about and you should care about too if you choose. Today we are doing a reaction video to Paris Milan's recent video. She released this video about a little bit over a week ago. So on Instagram I recently saw like this really young black girl getting a wig installed on her head, and like the post was asking like, what are your thoughts? I didn't comment on the post, but then when I saw it, I felt a little bit disturbed. And then Paris Milan ended up making a video about this little girl getting a lace front wig installed. And I thought about making a video myself about it, but instead I want to react to her video because Paris Milan's videos are very thorough and she has a lot of good stuff to say. So I decided to just react to her video and then add on to whatever else that she says that I want to say. So now before we get into the video, first I want to promote my merch. So this is my revolutionary merch collection that came out in February of this year. But you know, it's starting to get cool outside again. It's the first day of fall, okay? It's the first day of fall, y'all. And also it's the first day of Libra season, which is my zodiac sign. So today is a good day. So for anybody who's watching right now, if you want to get some merch, we have Huey, we have MLK, we have Malcolm X, we have Asada Shakur, and we have Angela Davis. The link will be in the description box to purchase some of my merch. And you who are watching this right now will get a discount, 20% off by using the code fall. So make sure you go check out the merch and go pick up some merch now so y'all can be nice and warm and cozy this fall and winter. So now let's hop into this reaction video. The title of this video is Mom Faces Backlash for 5-year-old Lace Front Wig Install.
Sorry, this has to be addressed. How did this become this? Become this? Become this?
Video has made its rounds on Instagram. It has went viral on Twitter. You had some people who had no issues with the hairstyle, and I want to read you some of those comments. So someone said, I see no problem because the wig is in a child-appropriate hairstyle. Someone also said, it's a wig, not that big of a deal, it's actually funny. Another person says, she looks beautiful. First of all, y'all don't even know why she has on a wig. Raise y'all kids how y'all want to and stop coming for people regarding how they raise theirs. I've seen kids with this exact hairstyle with their own natural hair. So what's the problem? Hairstyle or the fact that it's a wig? However,
okay, so just stopping it right there. Like, my opinion on this girl who is 5 years old, like, I don't think that any 5-year-old should be wearing a wig, period. Don't matter what race you are. I don't think that you should be wearing a wig. Like, even though it might look nice on her hair, why couldn't y'all have done that with her natural hair? Like, the people that are commenting on this, they're saying like, I've seen kids with this exact hairstyle with their own natural hair. Then why don't you do that with her natural hair then? But I understand that like some kids, you know, they may have alopecia, they may have hair loss problems, and we don't know this child's backstory. But in general, I do not think that kids, especially not black children, black girls, should be wearing lace front wigs. Okay.
definitely had a lot of people holding responsible the mother who decided to allow her to get that hairstyle and them saying that it wasn't age appropriate. So someone here commented and they said, curious as to why they didn't just use her real hair for that hairstyle. LOL. Lace is a lot to upkeep, and plus doing hairstyles with her real hair will help her love her own hair. So another person responded and said, you can avoid heat damage and excessive manipulation while utilizing protective styling like braids and wigs. Also, her natural hair will probably be just as much upkeep. I understand the last point you made, trying afro textured wigs or extensions would be cool for black girls. So somebody commented here and said, y'all putting lace fronts on kids now? And another commenter said, unless my child suffers from alopecia or had to undergo treatment that leads to hair loss, she's too young for lace wigs. And someone said, this is what a normal person would say yes. And in the video, she looks somewhere around 10 or so. And that just shows you sometimes, even regardless of the style, how a child having a wig in general ages them, in my opinion. Obviously, the girl looks young, but she she looks a little older with the wig on. And unfortunately, you had some fools out here clowning the little girl, saying that she looks like an auntie, saying that she looks like Loretta Devine. And there's nothing wrong with Loretta Devine, obviously, but the girl is not anywhere near that age. But again, it just shows you how wigs, regardless of how they're styled, are really not appropriate for children. And what made me more so feel this way was when I went to the stylist page, and here's what she said. She said, "Hooray, baby is 5. It's my baby OG birthday. I love how smart you have become. I pray you become more smart, more sweet, and more blessings, Dad and Mom. Grow in excellence, baby. Mommy, oh, thanks for always choosing their company." This is the stylist that did the hair. And
okay, so first of all, like Paris is saying, when you put a wig on a child, or just wear a wig in general, especially like a straight or wavy wig, it ages you. This child is 5, but she looks like she's like 8 or 10 years old. And we already have this problem in the Black community of the adultification of Black girls, little Black girls. And I feel like this feeds more into the problem, even though like we cannot get rid of the adultification of Black girls because it's rooted historically in history, and we can't control that because of how rooted it is in our society. But doing this, like making your little girl look even older than she already is, like why would you do that to a child? Like even when like older like women, Black women like myself, like not older, but like I'm 22, and for me, like if I were to wear a lace front, or if I were to wear long weave, it would age me. And it actually, the last time I wore a lace front, not lace front, but like a sew-in, was when I was in my senior year of high school. So I was 17, and I was actually showing my boyfriend pictures of me from when I had that long lace front. I had 22, 24, 26 inch, so it was down here, and he was like, "You look older. Like you don't look like you're 17." So just imagine how like that lace front ages her if it ages me at 17. And it just goes to show that, like I said, there is no reason why a little Black girl should have a lace front wig on. And I remember in the comments of the post that I was talking about earlier, who posted this, somebody was like, "I would hate as like a little girl to have to worry about on the playground my lace lifting up." Like that's something that a child should not have to think about while they trying to be a child and trying to play. Like you got to worry about your lace lifting up on the playground and you trying to have fun with your friends. Like no, like, and there's other reasons too that I believe that Black girls shouldn't have or shouldn't get a lace front, but I'll get into those more as the video continues.
you can see, the girl is only 5. So I was able to locate the mother's page, and because the mom has received so much backlash, she has privated her page. She created an Instagram page for her daughter as well. She also privated her page, but her business page is still open. So her mother has a hair business, and she's located in Nigeria, and she has a retail business, and she also does like deliveries. So she does bundles, frontals, wigs, all types of weave. She often utilizes her daughter, her OG, to install these wigs onto her so that she can model them. But something else that I noticed is that she will typically give her these wigs for her birthday. So this wasn't the first birthday that she gave her a wig, and in this one, you can see it was her birthday again, and her wig is long. It is not age appropriately styled, in my opinion. But even outside of her daughter, when she was 4, giving her a wig installation.
Okay, pause right there. First of all, so I made a video about this, when did I make it? Maybe in May, where I talked about like how we are so conditioned as Black girls to get our hair straightened for our birthday. Like I made the video, I'll put the screenshot of it and put it in the icon. But basically, like, for special events, Black girls have always been taught to like, oh, you should get your hair straightened, or you should get your hair like this. And I was reacting to or responding to this tweet that was on Twitter where they were talking about like, somebody said that they should go get box braids for like a vacation, and they were like, ew, no, like why would I get box braids? And it's like, Black women would prefer to get a straight weave for a special occasion, such as a vacation or a birthday, instead of getting box braids, which is more of an ethnic hairstyle for us. So I do not like already how her mom is conditioning her, because it seems like her mom is giving her these lace fronts on her birthdays. So just like this picture, her hair is straight. On her birthdays, that's already conditioning her to get her hair straightened for special occasions, or to condition her to be like, oh, maybe because I'm going on a vacation or I'm doing this, I need to get my hair straightened. Oh, it's picture day, I need to have my hair straightened. I don't need to wear my hair in its natural state. I feel like it's already conditioning her to do that, and I do not like that. I personally felt like I was conditioned that way growing up, or that was my thought process as well growing up. I always thought that I had to get my hair flat ironed or straightened for my birthday. And it's been about, I want to say 3 or 4 years since I've gotten my hair straightened at all. And wearing, yeah, it's been like 3 or 4 years, and it's been since my senior year of high school. So since I was 17 that I've had like a straight weave. And I personally am going to get my hair straightened very soon for my birthday, which is next month. But however, I have not done that in the last 4 years, and I have changed the conditioning of my mindset. So I'm like not getting my hair straightened because I don't want to wear my natural hair on my birthday, but it's more so like, oh, I haven't had my hair straightened in 4 years. And also my hair is like 4C, so like getting it straightened now in the summertime would be bad because it would just sweat out. So I thought, fall was the perfect time. But there's a difference between like me getting my hair straightened like once every 4 years on a birthday versus a child or anyone else getting their hair straightened every year for their birthday, getting a straight hairstyle every year for their birthday. Like, that's different to me. And then also, like, I just have like, I don't know how I feel about like parents kind of like using their children for profit. Like, I understand that, you birthed this child, and that, you get to make money off of this child. If you have a hair company, you want your child to wear your hair, or, you want to create your child an Instagram page so she can model, or he can model, or they can model, whatever. I've seen a lot of people like, use their kids for profit, like create YouTube channels for them, and they become YouTube personalities. They could become children influencers. I personally would not want to have my children on the internet like that, because even though they're a child and technically you don't have to get their permission, but it's like as they grow up, like when they're 18, it's like, what if they decide that, oh, I actually didn't want my face to be on the internet this whole time growing up? I don't know. For me personally, I would not want to just show my child's face all over the internet like that. I would like to keep my child private, and if they want to be on the internet, they want to be a personality, then I'll allow that. I don't know if parents actually ask their children or they just bring their children into that. But yeah, let's continue the video.
She has another daughter that is only 2, and she also gave her a wig frontal installation for her second
that's unacceptable.
birthday. So for
2
those
years
of
old,
you who are saying that this is not that big of a deal and who cares, when on earth is it ever appropriate for a 2-year-old to have a lace front wig? I understand, and I'm already prepared for some of y'all say it's not your business, who cares, it's her daughter, but we're talking about children here. And even if you look at the girl's facial expression in the first video, again, this is not the first time she had on a wig, but she doesn't look happy. She looks like, even when she was smiling, that you could tell they were telling her to smile, but just look at her eyes and just look at how uncomfortable she looked. Maybe she just didn't like the style, or I don't know, she felt like her head was too tight or something. But either way, a weave never belongs in the head of a young girl, and that's my opinion, and I'm sticking by that. And I already know some people are going to ask, maybe the daughter has some sort of health issues. I was on on the mother's business page and she was posting some reviews from customers. You can see on one of the text messages that she was showing, she uses her children as her wallpaper to her text messages. And I can see the young girl OG, and you can see her in her natural hair. And she had little braids. But you can see there, the girl clearly has hair. Simply gives her these installations to promote her company as well as to style her for events. And the girl does modeling and things like that. And I just want some of you guys to think about something. Knowing how that tension, some of the chemicals that they're putting in these wigs and weaves that studies have shown is taking our hair out and causing health ailments, the toxicity levels of the weave bonding glue and the chemicals in them, and also think about the strength and how they can even cause hair loss and thinning in adults. Imagine what that would do to a 5-year-old, let alone a 2-year-old, and how delicate their hair is and how fragile their hair is.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like, our hair at a young age is already fragile. And then plus, just like similarly to like the perm, like I got my first perm when I was 6 years old. And then when you install a wig, you're also installing chemicals and adding chemicals in order for the installation to be successful. It's like at that young of an age, 2, 5, 6, you should not be getting those chemicals taken. Like, you should not be intaking any of those chemicals. Even as a 6-year-old, me getting a relaxer, a perm, I should not have been inhaling those chemicals via my scalp. Like, I don't think that's another reason why I don't think I agree with Paris, that I don't think that children should be wearing lace fronts. And then as you can see, like, not in all cases, but in some cases, it can cause your like hairline to recede, or you can be missing edges depending on how the install is. If somebody don't install it right, or they put the glue in the wrong places and they accidentally put the glue on your edges and your edges is gone. Imagine what your confidence as a child, how that will be if you like take off your lace front wig and then your edges are gone. Like, I don't know. And it seems like this child doesn't have a choice as to where like she gets to wear a lace front or not. It's like, it seems like it's for the mom to promote her business. I don't know for sure, but that's just my reaction to that. It seemed like it's as a result of her mom promoting her hairline. And I just don't like that. And like, let's say for example, hopefully not though, let's say for example that after she takes the lace front off, like some of her edges are thinner or like they might be gone. Like, imagine how her self-confidence will be, and then imagine how she will be more dependent on wigs. And I feel like Black women in general are already dependent on hair wigs. Like, you can just see like how often, like even down my timeline for Instagram, not even my timeline, but more so my explore page, because I try to filter out who I follow and what I follow on Instagram and just on social media in general. And you will see like this push of just like lace fronts, bundles among Black women. And like, yes, we look beautiful with them, but why are we so like set on wearing bundles and lace front wigs? Like, I don't get it. Like, for me, I feel like it's internalized hate if you are constantly wearing a straight lace front wig instead of your natural hair. I feel like we should embrace more of our natural hair or more ethnic hairstyles. Like, there's nothing wrong with our ethnic hairstyles like Bantu knots or box braids or twists, and then our Afro texture hair. Like, I feel like we always go towards the European hair. Like why do we do that? I personally just feel like it's an internalized hate that Black women do that. Some Black women might not see it that way, but I see it that way. So anyways, continue.
Weave bond on their hair, all these chemicals that they're inhaling, all this tension that's being placed on their heads. They are going to grow up to become dependent upon the weaves, and it won't even be because of their own volition. At some point, what's going to happen for those of you who regularly put wigs and weaves in your kids' hair, unfortunately, you're going to put them in a position where they're going to be dependent upon the wigs and weaves because their hair cannot sustain all of that long term. And this just kind of reminds me of what happened with Portia Portia's daughter. Her daughter was only 1, and she added like braiding hair to it. So she had these long braids. And even then, I'm not one of those that feel like, oh, well, you know, it's the texture of the hair. I don't care about that. When it comes to children, I don't believe that children should ever have any sort of extensions, clip-ins, wigs, or lace frontals, any of that in their hair. But in this case, her mother wanted to go viral, and that's exactly what happened. So she could have utilized the girl's natural hair to achieve the style, but she didn't want to do that. She wanted to promote her company in the process. This is why so many Black girls have identity issues. Wasn't Deja Harris just complaining that she doesn't like her natural texture? She has the texture of her dad's hair. And you had some people that were empathizing with her, but other people was like, oh, so basically you feel like, you know, you're light skinned, so you should have a certain hair texture. And I kind of agree with that, because on one end, there are a lot of darker skinned Black girls and women, and typically our hair texture is on the kinkier side. So with Deja being light, her having her father's hair texture, she doesn't really feel like it matches the hair texture that she feels she should have, because as a lighter skinned woman with her sort of phenotype, she feels as though that looser textured hair would probably better suit her, because that is typically what we see with women who are mixed or biracial and are on the lighter side. She also probably feels that way because her older half sister, she has the hair texture of her mother, who is biracial. Even though Deja to me is a tad lighter than Zonique, when she was saying this is why she goes out of her way to compliment girls who have forked hair, I just felt like it comes from a place of pity. Like, you poor thing, I know what you're going through, so let me just give you this compliment. And it's very much so normalized in the Black community that Black girls grow up to be these women who don't like their hair, and then they go on to have these wigs and they're slicking them down, laying them down with the baby hairs. And this also is a reason why so many Black women are wearing these bonnets. Nobody even makes a correlation with that. You guys don't just wear the bonnets because, oh, I was tired and I just didn't have time to do my hair. No, you have been conditioned to believe that if that hair is not of a certain silky texture, if them baby hairs ain't slayed, if your hair ain't a certain length and it doesn't have the body wave Peruvian 79, you're not presentable, that you need to cover it. So then you go into the world and you wear these bonnets, not realizing that you felt as though your hair not being quote unquote done was going to bring more attention to yourself, but the bonnets itself is bringing more attention to you. So the reason why you're even wearing those bonnets is because what exactly is occurring in this situation. You have been taught as a young girl that you need a lace front, that you need.
Yeah, like everything Paris Milan is saying is on point. Like, it's like I was just saying, it's conditioning from a young age. And like she was just saying how Deja Harris, T.I.'s daughter, like, we as Black women go through like an identity crisis in a way where we're, if our hair texture is, let's say it is on the more Afro textured end, and we are conditioned to straighten our hair or to get these lace fronts, growing up, we're not going to like our Afro textured hair. So even me, like, I had that identity crisis growing up. I didn't like my Afro textured hair at all. And I talk about that in my video why I used to hate my 4C hair. So it's definitely a conditioning that is passed on from generation to generation. As you can see, this little girl is learning from her mother, and then she just might pass it on to her daughters. So that's why we have to stop this cycle of self-hate and relying on these lace front wigs, so that when we get older, we don't hate our hair and that we actually embrace it. And I just also don't like the idea of how we're giving so much money to a company, like these like Asian companies that own these hair wigs and hair weaves. We're giving so much money to them when so much of that money could be going into our community. And I do see a lot of Black women starting their own businesses with their hair care lines, with their wig installs and things like that, creating wigs. But it's like, at the end of the day, the money is still mostly going to like non-Black people, because you are getting that hair from somebody else, even if we are supporting you. And there's not really a logical, like, quick solution to that. I don't like the idea how we put so much money into like these beauty supply stores that are non-Black owned, and we're spending all this money for us to hate ourselves. I just don't like that.
big that your hair just wasn't enough. So I fully understand why there are women like Deja and other Black women who just feel out of place with their naturally kinky hair because they were never taught to embrace their own hair. And this is why a lot of us who don't necessarily want to constantly wear the wigs or weaves, or you still might wear the wigs or the weaves, we just say, you know what, forget it. Forget trying to learn about my natural hair. Forget embracing it. I'm just going to get a relaxer. They get these relaxers and these texturizers. And you think that it's a coincidence that you go inside the beauty supply store and you see these perm boxes or the relaxer boxes and it's young Black girls on them. Why do you think that they did that? You think that non-Black people are unaware that you don't have a great relationship with your hair? They hear you online when you were dragging Gabby Douglas and how her hair was and that you were calling her hair quote unquote nappy and you were making petitions out there against Blue Ivy. All these people are aware of this. They see it. So
it's a shame that like our self-hatred, like we put that onto other people. Just because you hate your hair don't mean you gotta start a petition for Blue Ivy to get her hair done, or you gotta talk about Gabby Douglas hair. Like, we as Black people be just like that crabs in a bucket mentality. We be the main ones pulling each other down all the time, whether it's hair or whether it's something bigger than that. Like, it's a shame that like within our own community, that is another reason why we have self-hatred. It's not necessarily all because of non-Black people and like white supremacy, but within our own communities, we are perpetuating this already, this self-hate for our hair. And it's just really sad to think about that, because even if you do try to like wear your natural hair, or you try to wear your Afro texture hair and embrace it, people in your own community might be like, oh, your hair is nappy, you need to do something with it. So I just hate that, like, from all angles, like she was just like Paris Milan was just saying, like, these companies, they really just trying to get their money from us, and they really just setting us up for the okie-doke. The okie-doke. That's why they put these little Black girls on the perm boxes, because they see and they hear us talk about how we don't like our hair, and they see how Black parents give their children perms at 6 years old. Like, they listen and they react and they make their coin off of us at the end of the day, all because of us. So clearly there's a bigger job that we need to do in order for this not to happen.
Say, well, if she's going to hate herself, I'm not going to engage in any sort of media promotion that is going to uplift her. I'm going to commodify her low self-esteem. And this is why the hair care industry, especially like the weaves and the frontals and the wigs, is $1 billion industry. And of course, it isn't your fault. We all know that this is by design. However, not much is being done to try to eradicate this problem. Nobody is really.
And one last thing I want to say about that is that, like, non-Black people do not care about our self-hatred or our internalized self-hate about our hair. They gonna commodify it and they gonna make some money off of it. They don't care about that. Like, it's up to us, of course, to like reverse that self-hatred that we have about ourselves, whether it's our texture of our hair, whether it's our features, etc. So non-Black people are going to commodify us regardless, and basically just make money off of us without caring about how we feel about ourselves, or not caring about trying to uplift ourselves. That's how you know we got to do the uplifting ourselves for our community.
Trying to correct this behavior, which is why more people would feel comfortable just saying things like, oh, who cares, it's not your business, than actually analyzing why we're doing this, how this is harming us in the long run, and how this is going to continue to be a generational curse plaguing Black girls who grow up to be Black women that don't like the way that their hair looks. Something else that is another problem is there are just some of us who, outside of not liking our hair, we just don't know how to care for our hair. We don't have the education that we need to learn how to care for our hair, whether it's relaxed or even natural. So because some of us don't want to take the time out to learn about our hair, and we might be ashamed of it, we would just rather throw on a wig. And I know sometimes it's not all because you just don't like it. Some people would prefer the wigs for convenience. You know, y'all love to say it's protective styling and all that. But it goes past just being protective styling if you legitimately just have a problem wearing your own hair and naturally having an aversion to it. That is where it becomes problematic. And that is definitely what we are seeing. And this also makes makes a way for the teletypes and other non-Black women to feel as though, well, you don't like your natural hair. And although we talk about Black men pedestalizing them, we also need to be honest and see how we pedestalize these non-Black women by wearing hair that emulates their hair. It looks like their texture. Some of you guys can say, oh, a race doesn't have a certain texture, they don't own it, or they don't own a certain color of hair. I get what you're saying, but typically when you see women with straighter hair, they're non-Black. Typically when you see women who have blonde hair, although white women will bleach their hair blonde a lot of the time, majority of the time the blonde kind of matches their skin tone, and those textures better fit non-Black women than it does us. And what also lets me know that we are dependent upon the looser textured hair is because even when you wear wigs, if you are going to wear them, I rarely see us wearing wigs that match our texture, that are kinkier textures. So this is why we need to just be mindful of how we are also contributing to their positive promotion by wearing hair, and indirectly, whether you were intending to do that or not, but you're also uplifting these women by making them feel as though they're prettier and in some cases better, all because you are constantly obsessing and wearing hair that looks like theirs. And they know that that is a trigger point for you. And for those of you who will claim that you don't.
And that's something interesting as well, because even when I was wearing like the straight weave, I never thought of myself as emulating a non-Black person in their hair or trying to like get rid of or trying to hide my features and be more like a non-Black person. Like I never wanted to be white, but I guess just like the hair, it just made me feel more beautiful. It made me feel more accepted. It made me feel like my hair was more presentable. It felt like I got more attention when I had the long straight weave, and people thought that I looked better like that. So it's like I was more so focused on like what others thought of me. So I think that it's interesting how Paris talks about like Black women like trying to emulate non-Black women when we do put on these straight weaves. I think that's interesting. Are Black women trying to emulate non-Black women by putting on these straight weaves? That's a genuine question that I have, not a statement. So I don't know. I'm just curious about that.
I need you to analyze your hypocrisy, because I literally made a video where I was talking about Mike Epps and his daughter and how somebody photoshopped his daughter's hair to look straight, even though she has like curlier hair. Her hair was photoshopped, and you guys were in shambles about that, going in. And so if you can go in on something like that where an image was just modified, how could you look at something like this that's not just a modified image? This is a young girl, 5, whose hair has been installed with chemicals and wigs and weaves. How could you look at that and just say, oh, it's not that big of a deal? Like, that's a bit of hypocrisy. I feel like we're not completely lost. Like, we definitely can combat this through being, one, honest with ourselves about how we got here. We already know the origins of white beauty standard. We know that. But we are allowing this to persist by some of our actions. And one way that we do that, I kept bringing up the fact that when it's like a birthday, because even for the mother's birthday, she'll have her hair in a wig too, but she typically wears a wig. But anytime there's some sort of special occasion or event, she typically gets the children's hair done in a wig or weave. And that to me is setting them up to not like their own hair or not be able to embrace their own hair and love their own hair, because you're indirectly teaching them that the only time that their hair is quote unquote nice is when it's like some event and they have a wig in. They're going to associate like a happy time or them looking good is when they have a wig, and that's when they have a birthday. So we kind of have to be mindful of things like that, to not only give them wigs or even outside of the wigs. Let's even say you're straightening their hair. Some parents will straighten their daughter's hair for special events. I'm not saying you could never do it, but if every single time it's a birthday or a graduation or some sort of milestone and you always straighten their hair, they're also going to not associate their hair with being appropriate for those type of events. So we just need to be vigilant of doing that.
And that is very true. Just like I mentioned earlier, like me growing up getting a perm at 6, like, and then also just for me, I always felt like I needed to straighten my hair for graduation or for picture day or for my birthday. I always felt like that. The last time I did get my hair straightened was on my one of my birthdays. So it's like, it's a shame that at such a young age, these young girls are already being conditioned to think that way, and then it's just gonna gonna be passed along to the next generation.
And something else that I noticed is if you only compliment them when their hair is in a wig or when their hair is straight, they are going to hate their hair as well. So if they have in braids, or they have in a naturally kinky afro, or they have in some sort of, I don't know, ethnically textured hair, or even let's say they're wearing a wig and it's kinky textured, if you don't compliment the texture that mimics or emulates their hair or their natural texture, they're also not going to like their natural texture, and they will have identity issues with their hair. So again, something to look out for. And even in terms of them independent of it.
And that is very true as well, because not saying anything is saying a lot. And that goes with everything that we are conditioned. So just like with the Proud Family, and I talked about colorism in the video that I made, I talked about how, like, even though explicitly no one is saying that light skin is better than dark skin, just the image of how Dejanay is treated versus Penny, not saying anything is saying a lot. So even with this, like what Paris was just saying about, even if you don't have a straight weave or like straight hair, but if your hair is in braids or you have some twists or any ethnic hairstyle, any hairstyle that's not your natural hair, and you only get complimented when you don't have your natural hair, that also conditions us to think that our natural hair is not good enough. And for me, like, it always seemed like as a black girl and even as a black woman, I only get complimented usually more so when my hair is not in its natural state, whether I have braids, twists, straight hair, whatever. So that also conditions us to think that our natural hair is not good enough, whether we're wearing a straight weave or we're wearing braids.
Hair. Compliment them. It reminds me of this video that I posted on my Instagram of this Asian woman that complimented this young black girl, and she was making it a point to let her know, it's not just your hair that I find pretty, like, you're pretty. That is extremely important.
You know, something made me really sad, and like it just kind of made me think, because I saw a little black girl today. You know, she's really cute. She has a cute dress on and everything. So, you know, I told her, you know, like, you look so pretty. And then she was like, oh, thank you. And then she started touching her hair and said, yeah, my mom just did my hair today. And I was like, no, like, you are pretty. Like, not your hair. I mean, your hair's really cute too, but you are so pretty. And then I laughed, and I just felt like a lot of black girls, like, they get compliment. Like, usually it's because of their hair, or they think their hair make them pretty. But I just feel like, you know, you're not hair. You're pretty regardless. Like, if I say you're pretty, I think you're still pretty even if you're bald. It's just my opinion. Like, I don't know if I was right or wrong.
And that makes me think of the song by India Ari, I Am Not My Hair. Because it's like black girls and black people in general, we are pretty, period. Like, just because our hair is not done, whether our hair is done or it's not done, we are still pretty, period. So just because, like, our hair is not done, that doesn't mean that, oh, we don't look good or we don't look good in our natural hair. No, we still look pretty regardless.
Great seeing these mothers taking the time out to do their daughter's hair. They're not doing all these extra extensions in their hair. They're taking the time to properly detangle their daughter's hair, moisturizing it, braiding it. Doing that with their natural hair is just more than enough for me. But as the woman stated, that should not just be their only concern. You should tell them, yes, you are gorgeous with your hair regardless, but also letting them know as a person. And something else that we need to stop doing is calling their hair negative names or good hair. The term good hair should have been abolished a while ago. Some people have an issue with the name nappy, but I think that when you say nappy, it's in the way in which you're saying it, in the context of saying the word nappy. If you're associating nappy with ugly, that's a problem. Or you're calling it bad, or when you're about to do their hair, you're just huffing and puffing and you're yanking it and making them feel bad about their hair, they will start to do the same thing. So just be cognizant of that. If you're confused, just look up tutorials and go to Pinterest. There are other different places that you can go that you can learn about cute hairstyles, so that when these girls grow up to be women, they're not going to be on Twitter like what we saw where y'all embarrassing yourselves talking about braids are not a birthday style. Yeah, that's because as girls, most likely.
Yes, and this is a tweet I was referring to earlier when I was saying that I did a video commenting on a tweet where a girl was talking about how braids aren't a birthday style. So this is the exact tweet.
were having straightened hair for their birthday, or they had a wig thrown on for their birthday, and they never felt as though braids were appropriate for any celebratory event. Because did you give them braids? Did you teach them the beauty of braids? There's so many different ways you can style hair for their birthdays. You can do some braided updos, you can do a braided bun with some ribbons, you could do an afro puff, throw in some berets, or that has a tiara with their natural hair. But if you only feel as though a relaxer is good enough or a wig is good enough, that's all they're going to feel that they're worth. They are going to be spending thousands of dollars into another community that most likely don't like them, don't care about them, and is just utilizing and monetizing the fact that you did not instill in them how to love their hair. It is such a liberating feeling to be natural, especially when you have type 4 hair. Be mindful of the type of company that your kids are keeping and what sort of media that they're consuming, because that also could happen. If you taught them how to love their hair and they're consuming media that shows women that are mixed looking and don't have the texture that they have, yeah, they're going to have identity issues. No other community has this unique challenge that they're in where they have so much adversity against them, so many different ways that they're dehumanized. And when it comes to beauty, it's like this has plagued us for a while, and it's time for us to be released from those shackles. Let me know what you feel about the girl in her hair. Have you seen the video? Do you feel like weaves are appropriate for a child? I know that there are some children that are sick, and of course I'm not talking about those children who have to wear wigs, but I'm talking about children who have no ailments or anything going on. You just have a mother that might be a tad vain and feel as though her daughters need wigs and weaves at 5 and 2. Are you okay with that? Please make sure you like this video, comment, subscribe, and share, and I will talk to you in my next one. Bye.
So overall, I feel as though this is why representation matters, and this is why it's so important for Black girls and Black women to be affirmed, and to be affirmed in every aspect, with their hair, with the media that they intake. If I ever have a daughter, I would want to teach her at a young age to love herself, every aspect of herself, her hair, her features, her skin color, her skin tone, everything. So I feel like we really need to engrave that, because society is going to push the opposite against Black girls. So we have to work against it and smack it out the way. So I feel like it's very important, and that's why representation matters, and that's why having Black teachers at a young age matters too, because it's just so much in depth that I could go about how representation matters. And just like with the colorism and the Proud Family that I was talking about, even with that media, that matters as well. Not saying that your child can't intake that media, but just making sure that you're having conversations with your child and making sure that you're telling them you are beautiful the way that you are. Nobody, you're not inferior or superior to anyone else. And overall, no, I don't believe that 5-year-olds, 2-year-olds should be wearing a lace front wig. That is just unacceptable to me. And as I said earlier, it just conditions a Black girl to just think of her natural hair as not appropriate, and having to always straighten their hair or wear a lace front weave, and the need to do that for a special occasion. That's just early conditioning, and it's not good at all. And I really like this video by Paris Milan. I like a lot of her other videos as well. So this video and her channel will be linked in the description box if you want to check out her channel. But that's all I have for this video. Thanks for watching. If you have thoughts about lace fronts on Black girls, or just Black women in general, or just what are your thoughts on this whole topic, leave them down in the comment section below, and I'll see you in my next video.